Welcome to Thursday, September 30th, 2021. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Cool fall weather on tap. We're going to get more rain for New Mexico, Arizona, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas. Those southern areas are going to get more needed rain. It'll be cool, fair, and dry elsewhere across the central and northern Rockies and Plains. It'll be those southern areas that get wet. We've got a nice first weekend of October coming up. It's going to be another great weekend. It's another great weekend to check out those fall colors. If you are going to start your hunting season, you want to head to a football game, great weather for that. And the nice weather is going to last through Tuesday. Mid-October weather pattern change remains on the table. The middle of October will bring that colder, wet weather. We'll talk about that. Also, we'll give you the latest drought monitor update. Got some great photos coming in still. I had a Paona, Colorado podcast friend, Shane Smith, a great shot there, Grand Mesa there in the background. So those fall colors in Colorado expanding south. Another shot from the northern Bighorn Mountains. Wow, the fall colors are really, really good this year. Casper, Wyoming, in town. Those colors are changing. And we're also looking at another aerial view. Here we go. This is the third shots from an aircraft. We had a helicopter shot. We've had two airplane shots now. This is near the Kennedy Peak Pennock Mountains, east of Saratoga, close to that Elk Mountain area. Boy, the view from above of these fall colors is this excellent this year. And you really want to get out this weekend. This is the last weekend they're going to be peaking. This will be true in the northern Rockies. The colors are going to last a little bit longer in Colorado, then working your way south into New Mexico in the coming weeks. Here's your latest satellite photo. You've got another low here in the southwest United States. This is what's going to bring more rain to southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, parts of Arizona, then into Kansas over the next 24 to 48 hours, while drier air and high pressure is now building on in. You can see that in the upper level maps. Here's the upper level low. It's going to slowly migrate this way. This jet stream up here is going to kind of stay up here for the weekend. And that's going to mean a split jet stream flow with a branch of the jet stream more south and another branch up north. That means not much wind either. And a west to east flow off the Pacific means mild, or let's say pretty moderate temperature conditions as we look ahead into the weekend and early next week. So this is all adding up to a really nice looking stretch of weather. Precipitation. This is the next 3 days. This is through Sunday afternoon. These are the areas that are going to get wet, especially southern Colorado, northern New Mexico, these areas here. Going to get a little more rain up here in the Pacific Northwest, although it's going to stay along the coast. Not a lot. As shower activity gets east of the mountains, just a little bit of it. That will change in the longer term up there. We'll talk about that here in a minute. The latest drought monitor continues shows lots of reds and oranges and yellows. Now, we do have some pockets where drought conditions have improved, and this is especially true in the southern areas where the monsoon rains were better, but you see a lot of red still. And these red areas, especially up in the north central and northeastern Wyoming, North Dakota, northwest Colorado, south central Wyoming, those areas continue to really suffer, while these areas are the ones that are better than they were at the beginning of the season. I want to show you a highlight here of how crazy it can get during these drought situations. I'm going to take Casper and Buffalo, Wyoming as an example. Yesterday, Casper got a half inch of rain, which was a record. For the year, Casper is just under 11 inches of rain for the year to date. That's actually above the normal of 9.74, so almost an inch above average for 2021 in Casper, compared to a year ago where Casper had just short of 5 inches of rain. So if you were to only look at Casper, you'd say, well, Casper, it's a lot better in central Wyoming in the Casper area than it was a year ago. And that would be true. The data supports that. But about 150 miles to the north, roughly, Buffalo, Wyoming has only had 4.52 inches of rain. They should have close to 11 on the average. So you're talking about 6.5 inch deficit. And a year ago, Buffalo only had 6 inches of rain. So Buffalo is worse off here in 2021 compared to 2020. Well, not very far away, the opposite is true in Casper. And that's why you get these islands where these islands of drought persist and these islands where drought conditions get better. Now, usually when you see these islands forming is the tail end of a drought. But we're not going to end the drought during the fall or winter. You're going to end the drought in spring and summer 2022. So the maps are going to look a lot like this. Now let's talk about that mid-October change that's coming. This is for Sunday, October 10th. Sometime around or after that 10th of October, there's going to be some type of front or storm coming in from the Pacific Northwest and into the Rockies and Canada. There's a lot of cold air building up north. This is for Friday, October 15th. See all this blue up here? This is a very extensive area of very cold air building in Alaska and the Northwest Territories. And if we were to do a bird's eye view, looking from space downward to the North Pole, here's the lower 48 states down here. You can see the blue and the green here is really, really growing. This area of cold is expanding and growing by the middle of October, and that's about when we would expect it. And that's going to cause some releases of that cold air south. Also help building up the cold air is snow cover. The snow cover is expanding. This is the latest snow cover and ice charts. Siberia's snow cover staying on the ground now. We're also seeing snow expand across the north slope of Alaska, the Northwest Territories, and you can see the orange is the sea ice. Speaking of sea ice, the sea ice extent reaches its minimum in September. The blue line here is the sea ice extent for 2021. The ultimate minimum, this only goes back to 1979. Satellite imagery started in 1979 to track this. The minimum was 2012. There were predictions that this year would be at or below 2012, but sea ice extent has actually been better than predicted, and we're now into the sea ice growing again as we get into the new season. It should be noted that some prominent scientists, especially a NASA astronomer, said there would be no Arctic sea ice by the year 2018. Obviously, that's not the case. But the last year, sea ice was below the average, which is going to be the gray area here, is your average sea ice extent based on this 30-year average right there. Again, the satellite did not start until 1979. If you look at the predicted snowfall over the next 10 days, it's expanding across the northern hemisphere. So the writing's on the wall. Cold air is going to start to build up and eventually cut loose. Thanks for listening and watching the Day Weather Podcast. Have yourself a very good Thursday.